let's do a live seed dig. And it's not really a seed dig. We're gonna dig up a known plant. And the reason I'm doing this is because I wanna see, I know that the plant is there, right? And then there's another one there and another one there. There should be one here. I see we got a slug there. Seem to be having problems with slugs where the wheat straw was. So this was wheat last year, left the straw on, and soybeans. We had soybeans in here. They didn't yield terrible, but what I want to do is, because this is the first that I planted with the big old 7200 24 row 60-foot wide corn planter. So I'm just going to dig this seed up. I want to see how its roots are growing. I know I've got it in 2¼ inches deep. We have definitely 100% established that corn planter. Here's a problem. I do believe that these larvae are Japanese beetle larvae, and they just live beneath the soil. They will feed on roots, which is never a good thing. So here's the fun part about these seeds, right? So let me get myself laying on the ground here. I don't have my actual glasses on. I have sunglasses on, so I'm going to dissect this little plant here. Not dissect it, but upend it. There's the seed right down in there. So I know that that thing is 2 inches, 2¼ inches deep, because it emerged here, like right there, and then we've got all this below, which is good. I don't have a tape measure on this particular knife. I didn't bring my tape measure, but you're not gonna see a lot, I guess, but there's certain roots that come out of these plants, and the whole point in planting this seed at that depth is to get this final root that emerges at the 1½ inch, 1½ inch level. As long as you go to 2¼ inches, your chances of having a shallow placed seed is much lower than if you're like, oh, well, I'm going to go 1 3/4 inches because my soil is a little cold. But and that's fine if you don't have any rocks. But here's that root. Here's that root right there. I don't know if you can see it. Right there it is. You can see it in the light. That's the one we're really looking for as to where it's emerging and how it's emerging. Now, why am I digging this thing out so carefully? Well, I want to see what the roots are doing, because this was just slightly wetter than I'd have liked it to be. There it is. Look at that. So this is what we're looking for. These lateral roots that come out of that seed, we don't want them to follow the trench, the seed trench. The reason we don't want them to follow that seed trench is because that means we have sidewall compaction. Now, I've been using Germinator closing wheels for the last couple years, last year and this year. And last year I did it in no-till, right? Germinators in no-till, and I was pretty pleased with them. Complete no-till, not half-assed no-till, but I was quite pleased. So here's the rock that could have kept that seed from going as deep as I'd have liked it to be, because I don't think that seed is at, well, yeah, it is. That seed's definitely at 2¼ inches. So I don't want to break any of these roots off. That's why I'm kind of going slow. Oh, we got some cool mycorrhizal fungi here. Look at this. Here's something that'll make you excited if you know what I'm talking about. See that white fungus there? Mycorrhizal fungi living in there. It is a good thing. And now that I am upending this root system. So if these roots were going forward and back up the row, they would have fallen victim to excessive sidewall compaction. Whereas the germinator, oh yeah, she's in there. She's in there pretty good, actually. Germinator, yeah, the germinator closing wheels have pretty much stopped the sidewall compaction side. Holy smokes, that thing's got a hell of a root on it. I don't know if you can see it. But it's going in all the right directions. To the right, to the left, and forward. I don't think you've probably never seen anybody get this meticulous with digging up seeds. So last year, of course, every year is very different from one another. I'm going to explain this here a little better in a second. When I do finally get that thing out, I'm going to have to go way over here. Okay. So, yeah. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So, look at that. See how far that root has gone? That root has gone out to the sides. This corn has an incredible start. Why does this corn have an incredible start, you might ask? Because the root system, let's see, we close? Oh, I think I just broke something. Yep, I got it. The root system, I'm getting a little antsy here. So that root system really does need to go for all of the nutrients that are out in that soil. Here it is. Okay, so now we've got it out. Look at that. So you can see how far we got the root that's going down. So that has breached the bottom of the trench. We've got the roots that are going to the side, which are going to the center. This is exactly how it came out. This has been in the ground approximately, what, 6 days? I think 6 days here. What's today? Tuesday? 6 days. 6 days for sure. 5, no. Anyways, whatever. I'll have to look back on my records. It has gone, in width, it's probably 7 to 8 inches wide out the sides of the trench, and deep 2.5 inches maybe. And then forward towards the next seed is the minor root. No pop-up fertilizer on this. No pop-up fertilizer at all on this thing. Now, it's, you know, there's some debate to that. In my opinion, I don't think you need it. Honestly, I don't think you need it. If you use it, maybe you feel that you're doing the best you can. And yes, it may increase your yield in the end. It may. It does. It does. I shouldn't say it may. There's a lot more proof that it does. But at what expense, and how much does it cost you, and what's the return on that investment? I'm trying to get this thing in my hand. It is so quite wide, actually. So look at that. Look at that. Very happy with the way this is looking. So you can just about row it. They're just emerging now. And what I see is the start to a very good stand of corn. This has nitrogen on it. Last year I pulled soil tests off of this thing. I have added NP and K on this in an organic form. We are high in phosphate, potassium, zinc levels are good, magnesium levels are good, manganese levels are higher than they should be across this field, and I added 175 units of nitrogen plus about 50 units of organic nitrogen, maybe a little bit more to this corn. The only thing that I need to do to this corn now is actually get it sprayed, but no pop-up fertilizers. The reason I do not use pop-up fertilizers is because it's expensive. And if I gain 5 or 10 bushels to the acre, that pop-up fertilizer is pretty damn expensive. Is it going to return on my investment. And in my opinion, in some conditions it may, and some conditions it may not. I farm in marginal soils. We could have 3 weeks of no rain and take all of the benefit of a pop-up fertilizer away. I would rather these roots headed for moisture and nutrients within the soil than just sucking off the nutrient that I put right at its feet. It's going to put a lot of energy into that root system, and then when we do enter a dry period, usually at reproductive stage in August, the root system is there to support it and pull all the nutrients that are already in the soil through that plant. Now, I am a big advocate of foliar feed. I would sooner foliar feed corn than I would put a pop-up in there. And I know this goes against a lot of guys' theories. It really does. Last year I put down my secret sauce. This year I did not put down my secret sauce. The reason I didn't put the secret sauce on this year, there's a couple of reasons. One major reason was it hurt my yield. Yes, it hurt my yield. I did not put a balance of nutrition in furrow, and it hurt my yield. I added zinc without phosphate. Phosphate would have burned my roots because I was putting it right over the seed. There's plenty of phosphate in the soil, but that doesn't count when you're adding zinc. Zinc without a balance of phosphate hurts your yield by 40 to 60 bushels. I saw it. I recognized my mistake. I will not do it again. What I am going to do, and this is what I'm going to do, it's not what you have to do or anybody else has to do. There is about 80% of the nitrogen on this field that, well, this particular field has all the nitrogen I'm going to put on, but the other farms have about 80% of the nitrogen that I'm going to put on. When this corn gets up about 10 inches tall, 8 to 10 inches tall, I'm going to do tissue analysis on it and see where I'm lacking. Okay? If I'm lacking in zinc or phosphate or magnesium, which I don't think I am, I won't, I shouldn't, but if I'm lacking in any of those things, I can do a foliar applied spray onto it and bring those levels up quite quickly and achieve what I want to achieve without just doing a blanket application of NPK, zinc, and maybe boron. I will be putting boron on when I do my second nitrogen application. I'm probably going to be using ESN or anything that's wax coated. No nitrogen stabilizers. Nitrogen stabilizers are microbicides. You kill the microbial bacteria in the soil and microbial biology in the soil, and then that nitrogen gets released slower, which in turn inhibits the decay or decomposition of the residue that's here, which in all honesty, there's 80 units of potash in there. There was 80 units of potash in this wheat straw, and usually when it gets rained in, it gets flushed out and then goes into the soil. The potash is necessary for soybean production, and I did have decent yields of soybeans on this even though they were planted in July. The funny thing is, 80 units of potash that's now available, was available to the soybeans, only about 30% of that is left here for the corn crop. But 30% of that is still 15% of what you need, is still 15% more than what you're needed to produce this corn crop. So if you don't understand that, I'm sorry. But when you do put blanket NP and K out on your fields, if you have poor biology, you will only get a maximum of 15% return on what you put in, meaning the plants will only have available to it 15% of it. The rest of it can wash off the soil, become volatile, like nitrogen, obviously. Nitrogen is actually stored in these plants as well, so there's nitrogen credits there. The cover crop I burned off as well, and then Teresa came through and VT'd it, so you can't even see that, but those plants that were out here are now gone. We do have some stragglers that I missed because I did not apply with the right nozzles. Yes, I screwed up, and that's okay. But anyway, I hope you've learned something by this. The nutrients that are in the soil, they don't stop breaking down at the end of the season if you have a living root in the ground, in which we did. And once we terminated that living root, we did work it up a little bit, you know, vertical tillage, just lifted and dropped it this much. That's it. The root systems are still intact in the ground. Here, I can prove that. Here's soybean that just broke off in there. But the root systems are below the soil, and that's just the way it goes. I'm going to be coming in here again. There was peas up there. I terminated those peas. I'm going to terminate those peas. I went around the field, ran out of spray, and I haven't been able to get back to it. But that field was planted, I don't know, 3 days or a day earlier than this, or 3 days earlier than this. Different corn planter on this versus that. That was the 7,000 I planted that with. This was the 7,200. I believe that the 7,200 has better seed placement than what the 7,000 does, but you know, it'll all come out in the end when you're when we are what do you call it, combining this crop or harvesting this crop. With that being said, yeah, it's been interesting, educational, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, well, I'm sorry. You probably aren't easy to please to begin with.